आज म तपाईहरुलाई B.Ed सेकेन्ड इयरको यो मेजर इंग्लिश सब्जेक्टको रिडिङ्स फर द न्यू होराइजन्स भन्ने सब्जेक्टको चाहिँ आज म तपाईहरुलाई चाहिँ यो युनिट 4 एजुकेसन एन्ड ल्याङ्ग्वेज टिचिङ भन्ने यो युनिट 4 को चाहिँ म तपाईहरुलाई लेसन 7 र 8 को चाहिँ केही सल्भ गरेको क्वेशनहरु म तपाईहरुलाई चाहिँ शेयर गर्नेछु। मैले अघिल्लो भिडियोमा मैले तपाईहरुलाई 1 देखि 6 सम्म चाहिँ मैले तपाईहरुलाई सल्भ गरेको क्वेशनहरु शेयर गरिसके। आज चाहिँ म तपाईहरुलाई युनिट लेसन 7 देखि 8 सम्म म तपाईहरुलाई चाहिँ केही सल्भ गरेको क्वेशन शेयर गर्नेछु। यो चाहिँ लेसन 7 रहेको छ, कन्भर्जेन्स अर डाइभर्जेन्स। यहाँनिर तपाईहरु हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ क्वेशन नम्बर ए मा चाहिँ व्हाट डु यु थिंक is the impact of globalization in the Nepalese language? There is visible impact of globalization on Nepalese language. The rapid growth of globalization has posed a threat to cultural and linguistic diversity. In Nepal, nowadays we can observe the influence of English in different fields such as business, education, media, tourism, etc. As it is said, for many people, English represents the greatest threat to cultural and linguistic diversity. The rising tide of English seems to engulf so many smaller languages of the world, and Nepalese language cannot be an exception. It is sure to fall victim to this process of globalization. यो चाहिँ ए नम्बरको आन्सर रहेको छ भने त्यसैगरी बी नम्बरमा यहाँनिर तपाईहरु हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। Does the process of globalization result in convergence or divergence? The concept of global village has emerged along with the process of globalization. New technology in the field of communication and mass media has made the world narrow. The world is shrinking, which increases convergence. At the same time, the rapid process of globalization posed a threat to native linguist and cultural diversity. For example, English represents the greatest present-day threat to cultural and linguistic diversity. At the same time, the diversity of English in today's world offers hope. In this way, we can conclude that globalization is two-way traffic. It results both in convergence and divergence. Globalization has been the reality of 21st century. This is question number C रहेको यहाँनिर। What are the some of the prominent varieties of English around the world? British English BRE, American English AME, Australian English AUSE, Singaporean English, Nigerian English, Filipino English. Indian English are some of the prominent varieties of English around the world. Question number D. What are the factors that are making the variety of English we speak strange and distant every day? Technological development in the field of communication, the ever-increasing presence of the news and entertainment media, and increasing fragmentation target groups of markets of cultures are the major factors that are making the variety of English we speak strange and distant. Question number E. Do you agree with the writer that the diversity of English in today's world offers hope? Yes, I entirely agree with the writer. The diversity of English in today's world no doubt offers an ample hope. there can be the specialization which is required for international trade and travel for the old and new media, the press, radio, TV, the internet, for science, for world markets, for air traffic control, and so on and so forth. Most importantly, the increasing fragmentation of the post-modern world, making room both for enough convergence to guarantee worldwide communication, and for enough tolerance and diversity to allow local and worldwide groups to mark their identity and in group solidarities with their own Englishes. त्यसै गरी क्वेसन नम्बर F मा यहाँ रहेको छ. According to the writer, it is unlikely that English, unlike Latin, will have multiplicity of daughter languages. Why he thinks so? The writer thinks it is unlikely that English, unlike Latin, will have multiplicity of daughter languages. Latin developed into French, Spanish, Italian, Romanian, Italian, etc. Latin language doesn't serve the purpose of international language. The division of Latin into its daughter vernaculars was facilitated by isolation, a lack of communication beyond the local and regional communities. Latin was gaining its popularity only at local and regional level. Currently, English-speaking communities around the globe are exposed to the prominent varieties such as AME, BRE, or AUSE on a level that ensures multiple intelligibility. They are only the varieties of English, not the daughter languages. Frankly speaking, globalization not only plays a prominent role in the development of technology and economy, but also promotes the exchange of cultures between different countries. It is globalization that has impelled many corporations to become an international group, thereby making contribution to local technology and employment. People worldwide get to know each other better through the process of globalization. Globalization encourages people to protect and promote their local cultures, traditions, languages, and economic activities by generating awareness among the global communities. त्यसै गरी क्वेसन नम्बर यहाँ जी मा रहेको छ. Is English likely to be a threat to your language and culture? Use your own ideas, knowledge, and experience, and support your arguments with examples and relevant evidence. As we know that there is a visible impact of globalization which has posed a threat to cultural and linguistic diversity. There is domination of English language and culture over global cultures. We are not able to combat the cultural assimilation. English is making a room in Nepal. There is huge influence of English in business, education, administration, tourism, etc. The rising side of English seems to engulf so many languages and cultures of the world, and Nepali language and culture cannot be an exception. To sum up, English is likely to pose a great threat to Nepali language and culture. यो चाहिँ रहेको थियो जी नम्बरको एन्सर. यो चाहिँ सबै मैले तपाईहरुलाई सर पढेर मात्र सुनाइदिएको छु. तपाईले चाहिँ यसलाई पज गरेर तपाई सेल्फ स्टडी पनि यसलाई गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ र क्वेशन तपाईले सारेर क्वेशन कपी गरेर तपाईले यसको एन्सर पनि आफै पहिला लेख्न पनि त्यसरी प्र्याक्टिस पनि गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ. त्यसैगरी म अब तपाईलाई अर्को अन्तिम लेसन 8 नम्बरमा लानेछु, वर्ल्ड वाइड वर्ड्स. यो चाहिँ लेसन 8 रहेको छ. यहाँनिर 8 नम्बरमा रहेको छ, वाइ इज इट डिफिकल्ट टु एस्टिमेट द टोटल नम्बर अफ वर्ड्स इन द English language and the vocabulary of an individual. Worldwide words are written by Michael Quinion. According to Quinion, it is very difficult to estimate the total number of words in the English language and the vocabulary of an individual. According to Quinion, it is common to ask question, how many words are there in the English language? However, to answer the question satisfactorily is not an easy task, because answering this question depends on what do you mean by word, vocabulary, and the English language itself. Quinion argues that the word is a difficult term. For instance, let us take a simple word, climb, which the English speakers may use this word in day-to-day life. The rules of English allows us to generate this word in the different forms like climbs, climbed, climbed, climbable, and climbing. Likewise, we can generate the noun forms such as climb and climber, singular, and climbs down. Now Quinion asks the questions, are all these words distinct words or similar words which come under climb? This question cannot be answered simply looking by available dictionaries, because different people have different views while answering this question. त्यसैगरी क्वेशन नम्बर बी रहेको छ, discuss 3 factors in every word in the language as Quinion states. Quinion states that there are at least 3 factors in every word in the language. They are fuzzy penumbra of inflected forms, separate sense, and compounds. For instance, in the Oxford English Dictionary, the entry for set runs to 60,000 words. Likewise, the noun alone has 47 separate senses listed. The question arises, are all these distinct words? Thus, it is very difficult to count the English words. त्यसैगरी क्वेशन नम्बर सी मा यहाँ रहेको छ, define vocabulary and mention its types. All the words in a particular language are collectively known as vocabulary. The term vocabulary includes all root words, derived words, compound words, phrases, and idioms. Among the various elements and aspects of a language, what forms the core is the vocabulary. In fact, learning the English language is basically the matter of learning the vocabulary of the language. Broadly, vocabulary can be classified into 2 types, active vocabulary and passive vocabulary. According to Finocchiaro, a word should be said about the distinction between active, functional, or productive, and passive, recognitional, or receptive vocabulary, and about the use of word lists. Active vocabulary is a type of vocabulary which is learned as to form meaning and function that it can be used but the pupil in any listening, speaking, reading, or writing activity. In contrast, passive vocabulary is a type of vocabulary when students will understand its meaning in either oral or written context without, however, being able to produce it themselves. A person's passive vocabulary will always be larger than his active vocabulary. Even in this native language, in short, active vocabulary is concerned with the words that people can understand, say them, and later read and write them. In contrast, passive vocabulary is concerned with the words that people can understand when spoken or recognize when read, but which they cannot produce in speaking or in writing. त्यसैगरी यहाँनिर क्वेशन नम्बर डी मा राखेको छ why is it difficult to measure vocabularies? Discuss. Quinian argues that it is very difficult to measure active and passive vocabularies of an individual because it skews estimates. Like words, the vocabulary is a complex term. Quinian raises the number of questions regarding vocabulary. Some of the questions are: what counts as a word that somebody knows? It is one that a person uses regularly and accurately. According to Quinian, the English speakers do not only know words but also word forming elements. For instance, the ending phobia is usually used for some irrational fears. A journalist who is in a hurry to meet deadline may use the word he knows like surf. Then he makes surfophobia, as he has just added a word to the language. Thus, it is difficult to say that he has that word in his vocabulary. Crystal suggests that there must be at least 1 million of words in the language. He further states that if we allow all scientific terms, the total number of words could be approximately 2 million. Like Crystal, MacArthur in the Oxford Companion to the English Language comes up with a similar figure. From these two world-renowned figures of the English language, we come to know that there is no fixed number of words in the English language. According to Quinian, assessing the size of vocabulary of an individual is both challenging and problematic. Let us take the example of Shakespeare, who is the world famous figure of English literature. We may think that it is easy to assess his vocabulary because we have read his dramas and sonnets in the school, in the college, in the library, and even in the house. The common figures for vocabulary quoted state that the 16 years old boy is likely to have approximately 10,000 to 12,000 words, whereas approximately 20,000 to 25,000 words for a college graduate. These figures fail to show the exact number of words that either college graduate or 16 years old boys does have for a number of reasons. Quinian provides 3 major reasons regarding this issue. First, these figures lack the effective research. Second, they lack the clarity about whether the passive or active vocabulary is being quoted. Third, they do not account for differences in lifestyle, profession, and interest between the individuals. David Crystal also carries out the research to prove that why the common figure for vocabulary quoted are served underestimates. Crystal uses the random pages from a dictionary. He comes to the conclusion that a better average for a college graduate might be approximately 60,000 active words and 75,000 passive ones. The findings of Crystal represent that a college graduate is likely to have more passive words than active words. According to Quinian, the method that Crystal used to assess vocabulary counts only dictionary headwords. Therefore, it is possible to multiply it several fold to include different senses, inflected forms, and compounds. यो चाहिँ रहेको थियो क्वेसन नम्बर डी को। र यो चाहिँ मैले तपाईँलाई चाहिँ यो अन्तिम 7 र 8 को चाहिँ लेसनको चाहिँ मैले तपाईँलाई चाहिँ सल्भ गरेका क्वेसनहरू मैले सेयर गरेँ। यिनीहरू अलि डिफिकल्ट पनि अनि छन् नि सम्झन बुझ्नको लागि। त्यो कारणले गर्दा तपाईँले चाहिँ 1-2 पटक चाहिँ तपाईँले चाहिँ आरामले चाहिँ यसलाई चाहिँ यो टेक्स्टलाई पनि तपाईँले चाहिँ पढ्नुहोस् र तपाईँले थोरै पनि गुगल पनि तपाईँले गर्नुहोस् ताकि अझै धेरै कुराहरू तपाईँलाई चाहिँ यसको बारेमा चाहिँ थाहा हुँदछ। हामीले प्रायःजसो धेरै थोरै जस्तो कुराहरू चाहिँ हामीले त अगाडि नै फर्स्ट इयरमा पनि हामीले यसमा पढिसकेका छौँ। लिङ्ग्विस्टिकमा धेरै थोरै कुराहरू चाहिँ अझ धेरै बुझ्न तपाईँले चाहिँ अब बाहिरी कुराहरूबाट पनि हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। हुन्छ, यो रहेको थियो सल्भ गरेका क्वेसनहरू। यो सल्भ गरेको क्वेसनहरूले चाहिँ तपाईँलाई चाहिँ थोरै भए पनि तपाईँलाई चाहिँ यो क्वेसनको एन्सर लेख्न प्र्याक्टिस गर्नको निम्ति तपाईँलाई चाहिँ थोरै भए पनि यसले तपाईँलाई चाहिँ हेल्प गर्दछ। यिनै कुराहरूलाई तपाईँले चाहिँ याद गर्नुभयो भने, यिनै कुरालाई तपाईँले प्र्याक्टिस गर्नुभयो भने तपाईँलाई चाहिँ क्वेसनको एन्सरहरू चाहिँ लेख्नलाई चाहिँ तपाईँलाई चाहिँ सजिलो हुँदछ। सेम टु सेम नसारेर कपी नगरेर तपाईँले चाहिँ आफै सेल्फ पनि यसलाई आफ्नै तरिकाले पनि यसलाई लेख्न चाहिँ सक्नुहुन्छ। र मेरो यो भोइस बाहिरी आवाजहरू धेरै आएको क्याराङकुरुङ आएको छ भने तपाईँले यसलाई म्युट गरेर पनि तपाईँले चाहिँ मेरो यो लेसनहरूलाई चाहिँ यो क्वेसन एन्सरलाई चाहिँ तपाईँले चाहिँ आफै सेल्फ स्टडी पनि गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। हुन्छ, आजलाई यति नै। मैले तपाईँलाई यो अन्तिम लेसन पनि युनिट 4 को मैले तपाईँलाई यो सल्भ गरेको क्वेसनहरू 1 देखि 8 लेसनसम्म सबै मैले तपाईँलाई सेयर गरेँ। अब आउने समयमा म तपाईँलाई चाहिँ अरू बाँकी रहेका लेसनहरू युनिटहरू म तपाईँलाई चाहिँ यसरी नै म तपाईँलाई सल्भ गरेको क्वेसनहरू सेयर गर्ने नै छु। तबसम्म मेरो भिडियोलाई तपाईँले चाहिँ लाइक गरिदिनु होला। अनि त्यसपछि मेरो यो भिडियोलाई तपाईँको साथीहरू माझ पनि सेयर गरिदिनु होला ताकि उहाँले पनि थोरै कुरा भए पनि सिक्न सक्नुभएको होस्। र मेरो च्यानललाई अहिलेसम्म पनि तपाईँले सब्सक्राइब गर्नुभएको छैन भने तपाईँले मेरो च्यानललाई सब्सक्राइब पनि गरिदिनु होला।